We're constantly sharing what other people say, right? Whether you're texting a friend about a conversation or, I don't know, writing up a report for work. But have you ever stopped to think about how we actually do it? Well, today we're going to break down the two main ways we report what someone else says: direct and indirect speech.
So, let's just kick things off with that really basic question. When you need to tell someone what another person said, how do you actually do it? Turns out there are two major ways to go about it, and I bet you use both of them all the time without even thinking about it.
And boom, here they are, right next to each other. On the left, you can quote someone's exact words, word for word. Sarah said, "I will be late." We call that direct speech. Or on the right, you can just report the main idea. Sarah said that she would be late. That's indirect speech. See, both get the same message across, but they do it in totally different ways.
All right, so let's really dig into that first method. We're going to start with the power of quoting, which is all about using direct speech to capture someone's words exactly as they came out of their mouth.
So, the key thing to remember here is that direct speech is like taking a verbal photograph. It's a perfect word-for-word copy. You're capturing everything: the original tone, the emotion, even the specific way they might have emphasized a word. It's all about being authentic and immediate. Take a look at this classic example. He said, "I am happy." The structure here is everything. You've got the part that tells you who's speaking, he said, then a comma, and then the speaker's exact words, wrapped up neatly inside those quotation marks.
So this really lays out the rule book for us. The most obvious signal, of course, is the quotation marks. But what's super important is that nothing else inside those quotes changes. The verb tense, the pronouns like I, and any words about time or place like today or here, they all stay exactly as the person first said them.
Okay, so if direct speech is all about being super precise, what's the alternative? Well, that brings us to indirect speech, which is all about flexibility. This is how we report the meaning of what was said without being locked into the exact phrasing.
Think of indirect speech, some people call it reported speech, as your best friend when you just want to get the main idea across. You're giving the substance of what was said, and this is so useful because it lets you weave someone else's point smoothly into your own sentences. It's why we use it constantly in everyday chats, and especially in things like academic papers.
So remember our last example? Well, in its indirect form, it becomes, "He said that he was happy." Right away, you notice the biggest difference, right? The quotation marks are gone. We're not quoting anymore, we're reporting. But that's not the only thing that's changed.
So what's actually happening when we make that switch? Well, a few things change. The quotation marks vanish, the tense usually takes a step back in time, so am becomes was, the pronoun has to change, I becomes he to fit our new perspective, and any words about time or place like now or here, they get an update too.
Okay, you've got the what and the why. Now for the really fun part, the how. Let's open up the toolkit for transforming direct speech into its super flexible cousin, indirect speech. And don't worry, it's actually a pretty logical process.
Honestly, you can just think of it as a simple three-point check. Anytime you're converting from direct to indirect, you just run through this list. Did I shift the tense? Did I adjust the pronouns? And did I update any time or place words? That's it.
First up, tense change. This is probably the biggest one you'll run into. If someone says something in the present, like, "I like tea," when we report it later, we usually shift it back to the past. So it becomes, "She said that she liked tea." It's like taking a little step back in time. Next on the list, pronouns. This is all about point of view. The original speaker says, "I need my book." But when you are the one reporting it, you're talking about him. So, naturally, I has to become he, and my has to become his. The pronouns just have to match whoever's telling the story now.
And the last piece of the puzzle is updating words about time and place. And this is just pure logic, right? If someone says, "I am here now," well, their here probably isn't your here, and their now is already in the past. So when you report it, here becomes there, and now becomes then. It just makes sense.
But wait, here's a pro tip for you. There's one really important exception to that tense shift rule, and it's for universal truths, stuff that's always true. If someone says, "The sun rises in the east," when you report it, you say, "He said that the sun rises in the east." The tense stays in the present because, well, the sun is still rising in the east today, and it will be tomorrow.
So now we've got these two amazing tools in our belt. The big question is, which one do you pick and when? Let's talk about putting this into practice and see why choosing the right one can make all the difference. This little table here is basically your cheat sheet. It breaks everything down so nicely. You use direct speech when you want that exact, vivid, emotional punch. It's perfect for stories or news articles where you want to make the reader feel like they're right there. Indirect speech, on the other hand, is more neutral and concise. It's awesome for everyday summaries and for writing where you need to blend ideas together smoothly. It's really a choice between impact and integration.
And at the end of the day, here's why all of this really matters. This isn't just a boring grammar rule. It's about having control over your message. Direct speech is your tool for being authentic, for capturing emotion. Indirect speech is your tool for being clear, concise, and flexible. And look, if you want to be great at academic writing, storytelling, or journalism, you've absolutely got to master both.
So the next time you're telling a story or writing an email, you'll know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. You have the toolkit, the power is in your hands. So the only question left is, which form are you going to choose to use today?